All right, so that brings us to here. We already solved systems by graphing, substitution, and elimination. Is that correct? All right, so today we're going to do visiting the systems, but now we're just going to get one system, and we're going to solve it all three different ways so that we see that we get the same answer. Okay? Yes, I know. We love this stuff. Yes. All right, so our objective for today, I can solve systems of linear equations by graphing, substitution, and elimination. Let's read that together. 1, 2, 3. I can solve systems of linear equations by graphing, substitution, and elimination. So we already know how to do all three. And some of you are saying, Mr. Q, what am I going to use this for? You know, oh, and we already know what systems are. Before we get there, I gave you guys steps for each of those ways. The first one, I said for graphing, solve for y, graph each equation, identify the point of intersection, and check. Remember that? That was for graphing. For substitution, solve one of the equations for one variable, substitute that equation into the other, solve for the remaining variable, substitute that variable into the other, and solve for the last one, write as a coordinate, and check. So far, so good? And then yesterday for elimination, we covered change into standard form both equations, eliminate one of the variables, solve for the remainder, substitute that into one of the other equations and solve, and at the end we're going to write a coordinate and check. Are we there? All right. So let me show you what Chapter 3 in Algebra 2 looks like. Here it goes. For Chapter 3 in Algebra 2, you guys are going to get to solving systems of equations, but instead of being 2 equations, you're going to be doing 3 equations. Yes, fun stuff. Yay. And then you're going to be doing matrices and stuff like that. Really cool stuff. Yes. So, yeah, we are going to do this. As soon as we're done with this systems part, we are going to be solving these. Yes. Yay. So, but before we get there, we need to practice to make sure we got all 3 different ways. Yes? So on your paper. Yes. On your paper, check this out. Everybody got a graph paper? The graph is on the bottom left of your paper. If it's not, turn it over or twist it, rotate it so that the graph is on the left, bottom left. Copy this example at the top left, please. You don't have to write the entire thing, just write solve and check. And we know we're going to be solving it all 3 different ways. Copy that, please. All right, so it says solve and check, and they give us a system x equals negative 3y plus 8, and negative x plus 5y equals 8. First way that we're going to solve this is by graphing. So in order to graph these, the first step is to change them into slope-intercept form. Let's start with this bottom one. What do we need to do to that one? Plus x to both sides. Let's do this together. Keep doing the steps as I do them. We bring down the 5y, the equals x plus 8. Next step. Turn to your neighbor, let them know what to do next. Divide by 5. We're left with y equals, what is the coefficient here of x? 1, so this becomes 1/5 x, because remember we need it in fraction form for the slope. And 8 divided by 5. Let me do the division here so you can see it. 8 divided by 5, if it's in there one time, subtract, that's 3, decimal, add a 0, 6. So this is 1.6. So with green, or if you already started this one with red, either way, I'm going to graph this here. So what is my y-intercept? 1.6. So we're going to plot that point. So let's look at the y-axis, 1.6. Here's 1, here's 2. 1.6 is about right there. So far, so good? All right. The slope. Everybody look up, please. The slope tells us to go up 1 step and 5 to the right. So check this out. I'm at 1.6. 1 step up, I land where? 2.6. So therefore, I go up 1 step to 2.6, and I go 5 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You plot your point. For right now, let's just use those 2 points and graph our line. Graph it with green, please. So we solved this second equation, solved for y, wrote it in slope-intercept form, we graphed it. Now we do the same to the first equation. I'm going to rewrite the first equation. I'm going to rewrite that right here. X equals negative 3y plus 8. And I'm going to solve that for y. So now, do I get rid of the y here, or do I get rid of the 8? 8. So I subtract 8 from each side. So we're left with x minus 8 equals negative 3y. What's my last step? Divide by negative 3. Divide by negative 3. Focus, please. Y equals, let's see. What is the coefficient of x right here? 1 divided by negative 3, so that's negative 1/3 x. And we have negative divided by negative is a positive. Let me do the long division here. 8 divided by 3. 3 fits in there 2 times. That's 6. Subtract 2, add a decimal, bring down the 0. If it's in there 6 times, that's 18. Subtract, that's 2. Does it repeat? Yes, so it's bar. So this is 2.6 bar. So, do we have it in slope-intercept form? Yes, slope first and then the intercept. So here we go. What is my y-intercept? 2.6. So let's plot that point. Where's 2.6? 2.6 is about right here. Okay, so we got 2.6. So, what is my slope? Negative 1/3. That means 1 step down, 3 to the right. So if I'm at 2.6 and I take a step down, where do I land? 1.6. And then 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. Plot your point and graph your line. Do that in red. Okay, so let's look at the steps for graphing. We solved both equations for y and write it in slope-intercept form. Did we do that? We graphed both lines. Did we do that? Yes. Third step, we need to identify the point of intersection of the lines. Do you see the point of intersection? Yes. Plot the point there and write the coordinates. It looks like it's 2, 2. That is my possible solution if I was correct with my computation and if I graph correctly. Are we there so far? All right. So, did we solve the system by graphing? Yes. So now, the next one, we're going to solve by substitution. Go to the right of that, right next to the graph. You see how you got space right there? Okay, we're going to go ahead and solve there for substitution. So do a little subtitle in red, substitution. Rewrite the system. Yeah, the regular forms, like if we're starting all over. So this is x equals negative 3y plus 8, and negative x plus 5y equals 8. So once again, we already solved by graphing. Now we're going to solve by substitution. So let's see. Let's go over our steps for substitution. Step 1, we need to solve one of the equations for one variable. Look at them. Is there one of them already solved for one variable? So one of them's already solved for one variable, which is this one. So what does that tell us? That x is negative 3y plus 8. So in the second equation, instead of writing x, we're going to write negative 3y plus 8. We're substituting. And what is the coefficient here of x? So that means we need to multiply this by negative 1 and bring everything else down. The plus, the 5y, the equals, and the 8. Bless you. All right, so if you want to go ahead and finish it off, that's up to you. I'm going to keep going step by step to make sure we got this. Here we go. So to solve that equation, I need to get rid of grouping symbol, so I need to distribute this. Negative 1 times negative 3y, that becomes 3y. Negative 1 times positive 8, that's negative 8. I bring down the plus 5y equals to 8. I continue solving this by combining like terms. 3y plus 5y, that's 8y. Bring down the negative 8, the equal, and the 8. Next, I add 8 to each side. Add 8 to each side. We're left with 8y equals 16. And then at the end, I divide by 8. Divide by 8. Y is equal to 2. Hands if you got that by yourself. Okay? So step 1, we changed one of the equations into solved by one variable. It was already solved, and then I substitute into the other and solve for the remaining variable. Next, I'm going to substitute this one into one of the two equations. Which one do you want to use? The top one. So then I write x equals negative 3y plus 8, but instead of y, I'm going to write 2. I substitute. Bring everything else down. The x, the negative 3 is multiplying, so negative 3 times 2 plus 8. What is negative 3 times 2? Negative 6 plus 8. And what is negative 6 plus 8? 2. At the end, we write our coordinate. What is our coordinate? 2, 2. Solution. Let's check our graph. What did we get on our graph? 2, 2. So what does that tell us? That, yes, we got the same answer because we're using a different method of solving. Yes. We solved by graphing. There it was. We solved by substitution. What's next? Elimination. So to the right of that, you still have room. I want you to draw a line down here like so. What's that? Try using the side so that like that you can see all of them side by side. This one is by elimination. 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 Rewrite the system. X equals negative 3y plus 8. And negative x plus 5y equals 8. Okay, let's see. From yesterday's lesson, let's see. Step 1 was what? Change the equations to what? Standard form. Let's look at them. Are both of them needing to change? No, just the top one. So I'm going to rewrite this one, and I'll rewrite it over here to the side. I'm going to rewrite it right here. X equals negative 3y plus 8, and I'm going to set it in standard form. What do? plus 3y plus 3y, and we're left with x plus 3y equals 8. Okay? So step 1, we changed to standard form. Step 2, eliminate. So that means I need to stack this one and this one. So you want me to write this -1 over here, or the negative, or this one over here? Over here? Over there. All right. So I'm going to bring this one over. So this is x plus 3y equals 8. And now we can eliminate one of the variables. What is negative x plus x? 0. We're left with 8y equals 2, 16. And at the end we divide by 8. Divide by 8. Y is equal to 2. Okay? From that point, tell your neighbor what you're going to do after this. Okay, I just heard substitute. Okay, so substitute into what? Which one? You want to use the one with a negative or this one? First one? Okay, so there's negative x plus 5y equals 8. But instead of y, I'm going to substitute 2. Bring everything else down. Negative x plus 5 times 2 equals 8. So what is 5 times 2? 10. Bring down the negative x equals 8. Subtract 10 from each side. We're left with negative x equals negative 2. What is the coefficient of x here? Negative 1. So if negative 1 is multiplying, the inverse is to divide by negative 1. Divide by negative 1. So x is equal to 2. Solution. Last step. Write as a coordinate and check. So what is our solution? 2, 2. Let's see. Did we get that with substitution? Did we get that with graphing? Yes. We should be able to get all three of them the same. So now, to double check, to make sure that we got it, we're going to check and see if that's true for both equations. Okay. Check. So let's write both equations. We got x equals, what is it? Negative 3y plus 8. And the other one is negative x plus 5y equals 8. So what is the value of x? 2. What is the value of y? 2. And I'm going to do that here also. 2 and 2. I bring everything else down. The equals, the negative 3 times that plus 8. Let me finish this one first. What is negative 3 times 2? Negative 6 plus 8 equal to 2. What is negative 6 plus 8? 2 is 2 equal to 2. Yes, that's true. Let me look at this one. Bring down the, what is the coefficient here? Negative 1, multiply that, plus 5 times 2 equals 8. So let's multiply these. Negative 1 times 2, that's negative 2. 5 times 2, that's 10 equals 8. So therefore, what do we do from there, Jorge? And what do we get? 8 equals 8. And that is true. So, tell your neighbor the statement that you're going to write. Okay, so the solution to the system is 2, 2, because, Jorge, it makes both equations true, and it's where both lines intersect. Period, and then 10 cubed. Okay, to solve for this system by graphing, write 2 simple steps to remember. Number 1, solve for y. In parentheses, write slope-intercept form. And step 2, graph. Simple steps. As long as you remember the first one to solve for y, the second one you know how to graph using the y-intercept and the slope. Okay? All right. That was example 1. Copy this one in the back. Example 2. Here we go. Yay. Thank you. Copy this one down. Example 2. Here it goes. Negative 3x plus 4y equals negative 18, and x equals negative 2y minus 4. Do that one by yourself. Enjoy your problem. I'll be walking around. So, sorry. Let's see. Homework is on page what? 347. Numbers 12 to 18, even. A good one, guys. Enjoy your homework. See you tomorrow.